only opening you need to beat everyone under 2000 ELO, no matter what your opponent is doing. You always play the move d6. I'm gonna show you exactly what you need to do. You don't need to memorize pretty much any variations here. Rather, you should focus on understanding the ideas, which I'm gonna demonstrate in this game. So my opponent is playing weirdly, like not what you expect, but I just don't care whatsoever. I play d6 and e5 against everything. If he would play knight to f3 first, then of course I cannot do that immediately. I'm gonna play knight d7 first, prepare that. Now we are gonna just transpose here. I'm gonna play knight d7 anyway, and so we might even transpose into the main line of the Philidor defense if he does play for the move e4. So it's so beautiful here. You don't care what your opponent is doing. You just play exactly the same opening, and you gain so much experience from it. Because imagine this, like your opponent plays d4, he needs to know what to do against d5, against King's Indian, against Slav defense, against Tarrasch defense, Grunfeld, whatever. And you, no matter what, you just play the same opening over and over again, which means that with the time, you're going to have so much more experience in that. You're going to understand the positions so much deeper than your opponent. Imagine what kind of an advantage that would give you. Let me demonstrate you how I use that in my games. So I always place my knight to f6. Once I played d6 and e5, I place my bishop on e7 and then I castle. And the last move, you basically only need to remember 7 moves here, which you do every single time, no matter what. d6, e5, knight f6, knight d7, bishop e7, castles, and then finally c6. I love this move c6 so much. It's the key move to your success because it makes sure that this knight is stupid. It has 0 prospects whatsoever. Yeah, you see that my opponent is not playing like they normally play. Normally they try to get the full center with e4 and d4, and that's a very good illustration of my strategy because I simply don't care. Literally, whatever he is doing, I just play the same thing here. And if he is playing weirdly like that, by the way, very strong opponent, 24-24, but it only makes my life simpler. Because, well, he's not that active in the center. So many people ask me about what to do if my opponent is making weird moves. Well, with this opening, you literally don't care. You just do the same thing. Remember those 7 moves I have said? Well, even though I see this position for the first time in my life, nobody has ever played that against me, literally those moves as white. I still have made the same moves as black. I just don't care because it's so solid, it's so flexible, and let me show you how I use that to outplay my opponent in the middle game. The huge advantage of this opening is that white just doesn't know what to do. Yes, he develops his pieces, seems like he has a very solid position, but what to do next? Like, show me at least one idea here as white that he can do, because he plays so weirdly his pieces. It's time for me to start my attack here. It seems like he might castle that way, which fits perfectly to what I'm doing because I always want to attack on the queen side if that's possible. If your opponent is allowing you to play b5, b4, a5, a4, and especially if his king is there, it's like golden ticket for you. Also, another strategy is to play d5. Whenever you can, you just take full control of the center, and that's beautiful. Right now I cannot do that because my e5 pawn is hanging. So I might start with rook e8, and then even some kind of tactics here with e4 are possible. Let me do that and see what's gonna happen, because let's calculate it. Let's say he castles either way. I play e4, I take attacking his queen and his bishop. So if he takes back, I'm gonna just take here, and then I'm gonna win a piece. But if he's gonna take on e7, if he's gonna take my bishop, guess what? I'm just taking it back with the queen, and again I protect my piece, which means I'm gonna just win a piece there. If he blunders now, e4 would be just winning immediately. That's, by the way, why this opening is so great against the London system, because so often they play exactly the same, knight f3, bishop d3, and they even play bishop f4, and then once you're prepared, you play e5, the bishop has to go, then you play e4, and you simply win a piece. I have beat so many guys under 2000 ELO who play the London system this way. And here, I mean, Probably my opponent, he's very advanced, so he should understand that e4 is a huge threat. He's gonna just lose the game immediately, and that is why he's taking his time. But like, how do you deal with it? Seems like you should play something like e4, or you should get your bishop away, but there is no good square, because if you go here, there would be just d5 and you're losing time. Yes, he takes, which is also possible, but that doesn't really solve the problem, because after takes, I still threaten the move e4, and that is why he takes. But that is like an admission of guilt, basically, admission of his mistake. His strategy is just not working, and here he's gonna fight for equality, because I'm having a pair of bishops now. I'm having a fantastic position. I just step back because I don't want to lose my knight, but already here f5 is a huge threat. What's gonna stop me? Note that knight g5 is not possible. I still have more attackers there. And f5, he has to go somewhere away. And then I play e4. I just win a piece again. So you see that even though he exchanged a bunch of stuff and even exchanged his bishop for a knight, which I advise you never do without a very good reason. I argue that bishop is always stronger than the knight. Well, now he goes for it, and he basically sacrifices. Okay, now I see the reason. I cannot play 5 immediately because there would be bishop c4 check. That's a good point, and that's why he exchanged the pieces so that I don't have this d5 move. But okay, I'm not obliged to play f5 immediately. I can, for example, start with the move b5, which is a very typical move in the Philidor defense. In all types of these positions, when we start with the d6 move, the center is pretty open now, so that's a little bit stopping me. The alternative is just to play king h8, make sure that that is not a check anymore, and again threaten the move f5, because that would allow me to get so much space. Not sure which one is better. If I play that, maybe he's gonna play here and attack my pawns, and my king is still not secure. So I'm gonna just play king to h8 instead. Maybe here, though, he has bishop c4. That is something I underestimated. No, he doesn't go for it. So my point was that he makes d6 square available and he attacks my pawn. Not like the end of the world. I still probably can play f5 and e4, but now he plays a3, which is a very slow move. You normally never want to make unnecessary pawn moves, and this one is unnecessary. Nobody was attacking that pawn. Like, what is even the purpose? b4 square is still under control. I cannot use it. So he's basically wasting time. And whenever you do that, you give your opponent a huge chance, because now the opponent, which is me in this case, has a free tempo to do whatever he wants, and I want to play f5 and just win the game immediately. Like, what do? You cannot play knight g5, I take it. You cannot play bishop d6, I take it. Knight d6, sorry. You cannot play knight c5, I take it twice. And if you go back, then I'm just gonna play e4, and I'm gonna win a piece. Like, what is going on here? I understand that normally, I mean, you should be very careful. If knight g5 would be possible, that would be very threatening here to win my queen. But specifically because I have this beautiful bishop on e7, all of that is just not possible. And I played king h8 exactly for that reason. I was preparing f5. And my guess is my opponent didn't even thought about my idea there. But he thought that king h8 is just, I don't know, a random move I made. It doesn't change anything in the position. It's thrown. It's the main mistake why people lose at chess, at least under 2000, and you see even really above that level, still people lose because of that. He didn't thought that king h8 could create a threat for him. And it's wrong because always, every single time your opponent makes a move, you should try to understand what has changed in the position. What kind of implications this move has on the future prospects of for the position in general, what kind of new opportunities your opponent might have thanks to this move. Always and always ask yourself that question. Okay, now I play e4. Of course, again, before making that move, I must check my opponent's opportunities, but I assume he just wants to take here, yes, either that or that, and yeah, try to create some counterplay, which is very reasonable. You don't need to resign. He still has 2 pawns for a piece. It makes sense. And my task now is to neutralize his activity, because now this knight is really powerful. It might go to d6, and if I play knight f6, it might go to g5, because my knight would block the bishop. But I think it's still fine for me. I'm going to exchange. The most important thing for me is now to exchange the queens. Once I do that, without the queens, he cannot really do anything dangerous. What I like about the move knight f6, he cannot play... no, he can. I thought he cannot play queen c3 because I'm gonna still take it and then attack the queen, but he can take me and create this threat of a checkmate. So I still have some problems to solve here. If I play knight f6, he goes queen c3, I play queen c7 or something. He can play knight g5 now, threaten knight f7, which is a little bit annoying. I need to somehow make sure I develop all of my pieces here. Knight c5 is not possible. So how do I make sure, like, I need just to bring my bishop somewhere here, and then I will be good to go. Knight f8 is one way to go about it. But again, queen c3 is a move with the tempo, which is pretty annoying. Maybe I just ignore this threat. Knight f6, queen c3, just queen c7. He plays knight to g5, I just play bishop f5. I don't care about the check because I'm gonna play king to g8. And if he plays that, yeah, actually I should care about it because there are a lot of discover checks there. The second knight is coming. That's quite annoying there. I might play h6, but it feels slow. Again, remember those unnecessary pawn moves. It's not unnecessary, strictly speaking, but I still feel like it's a little bit slow. By the way, I even might have some crazy ideas like bishop takes a3. But yeah, knight g5. How do I exchange queens here? Maybe I just play queen b6 for now. Because I want to play something like knight f6 in a moment where knight g5 wouldn't come with the tempo, so I have time to somehow bring my pieces. And if he plays queen c3, I thought I can play bishop f6. Yes, he goes for it. Because it's a move with the tempo, and if he exchange, then like every single piece I exchange makes it simpler for me to deal with his threats. It reduces his attacking material a lot. So that is why I like bishop f6 more than knight f6, because knight f6, yes, it does create a threat, but he can just go away, not a problem. And bishop f6 creates a double threat and basically forces him to exchange, which is what I want to achieve. And what's even better, after takes and knight g5, I can even play bishop e6, again offering yet another exchange. Remember, if you have an extra material, every exchange you make is simpler for you. It limits your opponent's attacking material, and it leads you forward towards converting your material advantage to a full point, because if you have 10 pieces against 9, you only have 10% more pieces. But if you have 2 pieces against 1, you have twice as many pieces. That's a huge advantage. So every single exchange is good for me, as long as it doesn't allow my opponent to somehow just crush me. After the exchange, I don't think knight g5 or knight e5 is really threatened, even if I just play h6, because check, I can play king g8 attacking that, and if you play queen c4, I simply have bishop e6. My bishop is protected, I attack that, I cover the diagonal, so I don't see any way for him to create enough counterplay for me. So that move queen b6, I really like it, because I felt like, okay, now is a very important point to stop my opponent's counterplay. Remember, it's not going to help you. If you have a huge advantage, you're going to lose. You're going to suffer a lot and you're going to lose if you don't stop your opponent's counterplay. And here, I'm going to play bishop e6 because I feel this is the simplest way not to go into those fancy variations, allow my opponent some activity. No, just develop your bishop, your pieces. I want to show you that it's really as simple as that, not to come up with some crazy ideas, not to... Ah, wait, now I blundered. Rook takes f6. Yeah, so that's very important. Before, actually, that move is the only one which is so horrible, because that's going to be a checkmate. Yeah, you see, I'm not perfect. Before making that move, I must have thought what kind of opportunities my opponent has. I still think I have some chances here, because this rook might be clumsy. On f6, like I can play queen c7 and then threaten to take it back and it cannot go back. Yeah, that might save me. Although he has rook h6, okay, the game will continue. But it wasn't necessary. Like instead of that, I could have just maybe played knight d5, the simplest, right? To attack that queen, and once the queen goes away, I just play bishop g8 anyway. Okay, maybe it's going to be interesting for you. First of all, you see that I also blunder. I am not a perfect chess player by any means. Second, you see the proof of my point that every single time before you make your move, you absolutely must think what your opponent can play in response. And that is what I didn't do it enough. Of course, I have thought about this threat. My bishop was protected, but I thought, okay, I just step back, there is no problem. And I haven't thought about most active opportunities for my opponent, which are checks, captures, and threats. And yes, well, he has only one check, knight f7, which doesn't make any sense, but he can capture, and I cannot take it back because of the checkmate. Yet you see that my opponent is not in a hurry to play that. Probably he understands it's not that simple. I don't think queen c7 is my best chance. Yes, he goes for it. It would be stupid not to, because otherwise, yeah, my position is winning immediately. So, because he also threatens knight f7. If I play something like rook d8, just to stop this rook d6 move back, then first of all, it doesn't create any threats. That would still be a checkmate. And secondly, he has knight f7 check, I have to take, and then he threatens checkmate. So I feel like queen c7 is the move that creates a threat, because I want to take, and then after takes, I have queen g7. And it still stops rook d1, and rook d6, sorry. And rook d1 would be too slow, I can still take that. So, wait, he can just go back. That's stupid. I mean, I'm not winning here or anything. And I cannot play h6 because he plays rook h6, and that would lose immediately. Yeah, that means I'm in big trouble here. I mean, I still like my bishop, that's good, but I'm just 2 full pawns down. Okay, let's see if I still have some chances. I have to play that. He goes for rook h6, actually. Okay, I thought that's a little bit less clear, because yes, right now I cannot take that because of the pin, but I can play something like, okay, he has prepared a very, very a very beautiful trick. So if I play queen f5, which seems to be a desirable move, if he takes, I take it, I attack here and attack here. But even then, he has rook takes h7, and even better, just immediately, rook takes h7, I take it, and he has knight f7. And if I play rook e5 with a similar idea, he can still take that. I take it with the queen, I win a queen. But now he plays rook takes, bishop takes, and knight f7 fork, grabbing that rook back, and he's gonna have 3 extra pawns. But still, that does not create any threats, right? I control the f7 pawn, 7 square right now. So maybe I can prepare that move somehow. Because now it doesn't make any sense to take it. But how do I prepare it? How do I make it possible? It's not simple. Maybe I play rook e7 and rook f8, but that is all very, very slow and doesn't create any threats yet. Maybe just rook d8 for now. All good development. Bringing a new piece into the game, because those pieces, they still look weird. I mean, of course he can go back, but like, what's the point of bringing the rook there in the first place? He could have just played rook f4, his rook would be completely fine. I think that objectively this position is much better for white, just thanks to the fact he has 2 extra pawns. I messed it up completely, I blundered my knight in one move, basically. But yeah, still, let's continue to play it, let's try to create some problems. Because it's not that simple. I might even launch some attack if you go away. Although, yeah, it's very difficult to do it because I just play rook d8. Oh my god, he left the game. That would be a pity, because it's such an interesting position. Let's hope he goes back. Meanwhile, if you want to get very affordable live lessons with me every single week for just $39 per month, please click the link in the description. I have launched ELO Accelerator Academy. We have 2 groups depending on your level, so it's perfectly aligned with your goals. Please check it out. There are reviews from people, there are live lessons examples, so you can know exactly what you are getting from it. And I really invest so much of my time into it these days, and I hope to see you there because I want to truly help you improve your chess level so much. Okay, my opponent still has a minute, he's back, and let's see what he does here. I think he played rook h6 specifically for that reason that he assumed I'm gonna play rook e5 or queen e5, and then he's gonna have this trick. Because otherwise the rook literally does nothing. He cannot create a threat here. Even if my rook wouldn't be there and queen d3 would be possible, attacking here, I would just take the rook. Yes, he goes there. And now the question is, how can I put some pressure? Yeah, probably instead of rook d8 should have played b5, a5, and b4. That feels my source of counterplay to attack his king. And now I'm not doing that. Let me play b5 anyway, why not? I thought that my rook is active on the open file, but he can even play that. Okay, b4. Not sure, like again, my rook would be so much better there. I'm gonna just... Yeah, let's play a5 anyway. I would have just played a5, and if takes, play rook takes a5. But now if he takes, I want to play something like c5, b4. I don't care about the pawns anymore. It doesn't matter if I have 2 less or 3 less. I'm gonna lose in terms of material anyway. So I want to create some activity against the king. Oh, I don't like that move so much. It's such a bad move. I understand, yes, you want to play that eventually, but I hope it's not going to be fast enough. And otherwise, this is closing the rook, this is wasting your time, this is creating a weakness in your camp. This is not what you want at all. I like this move, queen e7. It's a very multi-purpose move. First of all, I attack here, just straightforward attack, and then I will be just 1 pawn down. And since my pieces are so much more active, I would argue that position would be great for me. But also I stop my opponent's idea. He cannot play f5, this knight is hanging. And I also keep an eye on that pawn in case the queen wants to go somewhere. Yes, he defends, which makes sense. Now f5 is still not possible. How do I continue from here? Rook a8 unfortunately does not create any threats. The queen is still controlling that square. Maybe I still do that. Finally, admitting your mistake. Sometimes it's important to admit your mistake, because yeah, it's still better to like make sure that the rook is active, at least now, and play rook a4, attack there. Because how do you defend that? Yeah, just rook a4, threatening rook takes b4, and that move is horrible as well. You cannot play king b3, remember there is a bishop here. Yes, now I can just take. And at least after king to c1, I can take the second pawn. That would be an equal endgame in terms of material, and my pieces are still better, but I want more than that. I think this position is already much better, so I'm going to start with the move rook c4. There is absolutely no problem with it whatsoever. My rook is better there. Yeah, and now he goes away, but now I take with the check, and there is no way he can handle the pressure here. Okay, how do I win here? Is queen to e1 winning? Attacking there, so he has to take. Rook takes, king b2, the only move. I play rook b4 check. He's still here, he cannot go, but he can still play king c3. And even though I'm definitely better there, I'm not winning. What about queen g1? Yeah, just king to b2, and my queen is not great. Maybe queen g3 attacking there. Takes knight f7 is not a problem. No, I'm not sure. Let me go to the endgame. It's my simplest solution, especially in a time trouble. I just go into the endgame that I know is much better for me, rather than risking leaving the queens on the board and who knows what's gonna happen. Okay, maybe, yeah, the best thing is just to play rook c4 back and then rook e2. No, wait, what? Your rook is hanging, you cannot do that. You must have played king to b2. That's why it sometimes is a great strategy to repeat the moves once, because you win a lot of time, and you also ask your opponent a question and maybe he's gonna make a mistake. I hope this video was useful for you, and in this one I show you the only opening you will ever need to crush everyone under 2000 ELO as white.